Well, guys, we do have a polling update to get to here with a few different polls updating, including the mainstream media starting to sound the alarm bells on Kamala Harris's chances. How about this? Who do you trust more? Securing the border, not surprising, Trump plus 21, 54% to 33%. I think that's pretty realistic based on the partisan split and the independents going overwhelmingly for Trump when it comes to the idea of actually securing the border. Kamala Harris was asked during that fake Oprah Winfrey Zoom rally how she would secure the border, and she just did not have an answer at all for it. The answer is, I'm going to implement Trump's policies, or at least pretend I'm going to do that, and then really just go back to the same thing we're doing, where we import all these illegals, and then they're already in the country, and then we say we got to give them amnesty. But we're going to be tough. We swear, we pinky promise, we're going to be so tough on crime. We promise we're going to be tough on the border. But we already have 20 million illegals in the country. We have to give them amnesty and keep them in. But now we're going to be tough. So that's why people don't buy that. It's all crap. You can see the economy, Trump plus 9. Good numbers for Trump on the economy. We would expect him to be up over Harris on that topic. Those are the two most important topics in the 2024 election. You could argue economy's number one, immigration's number two, maybe immigration's number one, economy's number two, and then crime's probably sitting at like 5 or 6 in terms of the most important topics. Trump at 47%, Harris at 41%. Of course, it takes more explaining when it comes to the crime, and Democrats saying that crime is down. It's because they changed the way that districts had to report crime to where they're incentivized not to report it at all. So it gives you the illusion that violent crime is down, but still, people seem to try, even with that manipulation by the Biden administration, it seems like people still trust Trump more, obviously, and really any Republican when it comes to crime. Remember, Democrats' viewpoint, especially in these major cities, is people, they should be able to walk in and steal $700, $800 worth of stuff for free. I mean, that's no society. That's just, that's completely ridiculous. We've also got this, Kamala running way behind Hillary and Biden with Hispanics. And so you can see the difference in the 2020 exit polls, 2016 exit polls. You can see Hillary up by, looks like 40%. Looks like Trump did a little bit better in 2020. Biden was up by around 30%. And now you've got Kamala. That's 58. If you can see that, well, that was hands blocking it. 58 to 41, 17% lead only, according to the new ABC poll, which is not this Republican pollster or anything like that, among Hispanic voters. So this is a crazy, crazy swing. That would be Harris 7 points lower than Biden was, and Trump gaining 9 points from 2020. And this really goes back to 2016. You've seen him go from 27 to 32 to potentially around 40% if this poll is at least somewhat accurate. And this is CNN's main poll guy, and he was comparing the 2020 error to the potential 2024 error if we get it. And if we do get it, Trump's going to get around 320 electoral votes. But the problem is Trump doesn't need a 2020 polling error. He doesn't have to rely on that. He needs like a 0.5% polling error. He needs nothing. You could even argue, based on the polls right now, Trump is winning just based off of the polls, depending on what polls you factor into it. And some of the ridiculously liberal ones, even factoring those in, these states are still ridiculously close, even with the biased polls that are bringing down Trump's average. And you could say, well, they're not biased. Well, then, I mean, their track record in polling Trump has been horrible. They were off by 5, 6, 7 points in 2020 and 2016. I mean, it's fool me once, fool me twice. I mean, with these liberal people, it's like fool me 3 times, fool me 4 times. It's like Trump's going to win again. And they're still going to trust the polls. I mean, these people, it's unbelievable. The polls have been a lot of these liberal polls, they've been 7, 8 points off 2016 and 2020. But now suddenly they're going to switch. They're going to be amazing. And it's just not going to happen. Maybe they'll be more accurate. And then you can see this Bernie Moreno taking the lead in the Ohio Senate race, which is amazing news considering Moreno has been trailing Brown, the incumbent, for what seems like forever, pretty much the entire time. And certainly if Trump wins Ohio by 9 or 10 points, there's zero chance Moreno is going to lose Ohio. It's just, there's no way it's going to be that big of a discrepancy when it comes to, split ballot, and it's not going to happen. So if Trump wins Ohio like we expect, I mean, he won Ohio by 8 points in 2016. He won Ohio by 8 points in 2020, and Ohio's gotten more Republican. So he's going to win Ohio by 9, 10, maybe even 11 points, Trump that is, and he's going to carry Moreno to about a 3-point victory at least in the Senate, which is going to get Republicans to around 52 seats. We know they're going to flip Montana. We know West Virginia is already a lock. And so now you look at Pennsylvania, that Senate race getting very close, possibly Republicans getting around 53 seats, with Trump carrying Moreno in the state of Ohio. Harris's campaign a week ago ran to CNN and admitted they looked cooked in places like Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Arizona. And on top of that, they're now admitting to the New York Times that they don't trust the polls in Wisconsin. Well, I mean, that's just blatantly obvious. The polls in Wisconsin have been horribly wrong the last 2 cycles in the way that they've underestimated Trump's performance. So, of course, Wisconsin, I mean, if Trump's down by 1 in Wisconsin, he's really up by like 4 or 5 based on polling error. Even if it's not that bad, he's still probably up by 2 or 3, considering how they've underestimated him and they're struggling polling Trump supporters in that state. But if she seriously, I mean, I know she's admitted that Pennsylvania and Arizona are going to be tough. I didn't know she said something about Georgia, but there was a good poll for Trump out of Georgia this past week. But that's death blows. If you're talking about Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona all going to Trump, that would force her to take the other 2 Rust Belt states, and she would have to win. I'm not even sure she'd be able to win the election at that point. She'd have to win basically every other swing state, including North Carolina, to win at that point. If Trump is able to take Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Arizona, he would be like, I think, within a few electoral votes of victory at that point. And then you're also talking about Wisconsin and how close it is in the polling error and everything like that. CBS, see, they still do this. Like, CBS has Trump up 3. It's just not going to happen. Trump is going to win Florida. Trump won Florida by 3 points in 2020. That was before the huge Republican migration. I mean, Trump is going to win Florida at minimum, you would think, 6, 7 points. That's a minimum, absolute minimum, probably closer to 8, 9, 10 points. So these estimates just don't make sense. I want CBS to explain to me, how does Trump win Florida in 2020 by 3.2, but it goes down after a mass Republican migration to the state and DeSantis winning Florida by 20 points in 2022, but now, like, what estimate is what the data you're getting is not correct. You are not getting correct data. The polls you are getting are not correct. There is no way it is human. And see, this is why it's so stupid to even take these things seriously, because it's not going to happen. There is no way that Trump is only going to win Florida by 3 points. It's not possible. It is impossible for Trump to win Florida by 3 points. And then they factor in all these polls. Where's the nuance? It's 2024. Do you not have an accurate model that can understand that, oh, maybe if Trump wins Florida by 3.2 in 2020 against Biden, and now you get this massive, I mean, look at the voter registration change. It's like plus 1.2 million Republicans since 2020, and DeSantis wins the state by 20 points. I know he was an incumbent and it was an obvious victory, but still, it's just like these models, we're still doing this, and the same estimates use basically say it's a tie in Pennsylvania. That's because they just factor in like 3 liberal polls in Florida, and it's these same liberal polls that say Texas is like Ted Cruz is going to lose Texas and Florida's only a 2. Remember, these are the same polls that had Biden up by 11 points in Ohio in 2020. They had Biden up by 10 points in Florida in 2020. So it's like we keep doing the same thing over and over again, and it's just not going to be correct. I can guarantee it. And they recycle the same polls, and they don't change their methodology because it's all propaganda. If you have a poll that says Biden's going to win Ohio by 11 points 2 days before the election, and then Trump wins it by 8, maybe you should change the way you poll, but it's the same exact thing. And now it's like, oh my God, Ted Cruz is losing Texas. Trump is only going to win Texas by 3 points. Trump is only going to win Florida by 3.2, and then he wins it by 10 points. It's like they just keep bashing their head into a wall. It's the same crap liberal polls every single election cycle. And I thought it was going to change, but now you start seeing all the heavy liberal polls. Quinnipiac comes out of the woodwork out of nowhere. The propaganda machine starts turning. Trump is down by 5 in Pennsylvania. Based on what? Quinnipiac had Trump down by 10 in Florida on election night. I mean, why would anyone care what that poll says? But no, then it gets factored into the model and it shapes the dialogue. But the inner polls, the internal numbers, according to Harris's campaign, are not good for Harris. Why else does she want to have a debate? I do think there is some nuance to that debate demand that she had, which obviously was completely disingenuous and was a total troll trying to get political leverage over Trump by saying he's scared of debater, when we all know, if you know the nuance of the situation, that's not what happened. I explained it yesterday exactly what happened with the debate situation where Trump agrees to 3 debates, and then she's the one that doesn't want to go on Fox News, but now she wants to have a debate that late into the election cycle when all of her voters have already voted, and it's only upside for her in late October. If she was serious and she wanted to have another debate, she would have said, you know what, we'll do a debate. I'll agree with Fox News to do a debate on October 3rd, and if Trump doesn't agree with me, then that shows that he is scared. But she didn't do that. She ran to CNN, another liberal network, and we know that CNN got called out by Libs because Biden got destroyed in the debate against Trump. They said they weren't biased enough. I mean, CNN people were like, you're supposed to rig the debates for us. You didn't do that, and Biden lost, so you're a Trump supporter. That's what they said. See, like the liberals finally admitted, they're like, you're supposed to rig the debates. I mean, this is, you're supposed to give us these wins and basically be on Team Biden. And CNN didn't do that, and they got criticized. And CNN wants to get back, and they want to redeem themselves, and they're going to be crazy biased against Trump if that debate ever happened. But it's a totally disingenuous debate in the first place. If you actually wanted to have a substantive debate, you wouldn't have it on October 23rd when most of the mail-in voting is done, and that favors libs. And so now there's only upside for liberals to boost voter turnout when Trump has all the downside because most of his voters don't go to the polls. What if he has a bad debate? Or excuse me, most of his voters do go to the polls. They don't mail in. If he has a bad debate, it's going to affect him more. It's a totally disingenuous proposal. So these polls are crap. Anything that has Florida +3 is crap. Your methodology is wrong. You need to change the way you poll. Trump is not going to win Florida by 3, but we keep doing it. It's like teaching, you have to teach how to count to 10. I mean, with these pollsters, it's just like, can you please do something to accurately poll a state? This is not correct. Trump is not going to win Florida by 3, but it's just they keep, and then, oh my God, Quinnipiac comes out of the woodwork like a freaking special guest that no one invited, and they release all these polls, and it's the same crap as 2020. It's the same exact stuff. And oh, are they going to tell us that now? But the funny thing is now they've shifted to where at least they admit that Trump's going to win Ohio, because in 2020, even after Trump won Ohio by 8 points in 2016, they were still like, oh, it's a swing state. And they had Biden went into election at leading Ohio in terms of the aggregate on Real Clear Politics, or it was close. It was very close. But now they've had to give it up. They're like, all right, let's just give that up. We have to give it up. It's not going to be realistic enough. We have to give it up, and we'll go and we'll just say that Harris leads by 5-6 points in Pennsylvania, and it's all crap polling. And then these liberals come out with this poll in Pennsylvania. See, what was happening is they would heavily oversample Democrats by 10 points. And so what they did is they released this poll in Pennsylvania, supposedly oversampling Republicans by 4 points, and it had Harris up by 5. Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Pennsylvania, they oversampled Republicans by 4 in Pennsylvania, but Harris was winning independents by 25 points. I mean, no, you're right. Harris does very well with independent people. She doesn't want anything. She wasn't graded out as the most liberal person in 2019 in the U.S. government. That was her. I'm sorry, it's early in the morning. I'm sorry. She didn't want to ban fracking. She didn't want to give illegal migrants free health care with their sex changes. Oh, that was her. Oh, God, sorry. No, she's going to win independents by 30 points in Pennsylvania. You're right. Those polls are right. Because you understand, if you oversample Republicans by 4 points and you have Harris winning Pennsylvania by 5, that means she's winning independents by 30 points. Oh, yeah, yeah, that's a real accurate poll. That's very realistic. It's all total crap. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.